Yeah, so my name is Michael. I'm just outside of Hamilton in a little town named Brook. So we started a church there about 5 years ago. Went super fast. So it's cool seeing, everyone on here. Some of you have been a part of it for 5 years. Some of it, just getting into it. Some of us way longer than that, and it's so good to kind of have everyone, together learning and sharing this kind of thing. Yeah. So Jason asked me to share just for a few minutes on how we've been doing outreach ministry in the age of COVID, because I don't know what your typical thing was, but um, you can't really do big events. You can't really do the whole, we're going to run this thing and just invite everyone to come to it, because we're not allowed to do that. So you kind of have to rethink how you do outreach. And at our local church, like in our context, what we've kind of taken like a three pronged approach to helping people find Jesus. So number one was kind of those community outreach events, that kind of thing. The second way to do that was by running church services that new people could come to and hear about Jesus and this kind of thing, while at the same time, having it balanced so that people who are Christian and disciples, they also are still maturing in their faith and growing. So it's kind of this tough balance, right? Of how do you do it so people can mature, but at the same time, someone brand new to a church service can still get something out of it. So if you figure out that balance, let me know, because it's really tough to kind of to get there. And then the third, part of reaching people, we always saw is just one-on-one, everyday personal friendships, right? It's really important for us as leaders to have those stories and to have those people that we're personally investing into. Like, we can't just tell people, hey, go reach your friends for Jesus, go reach your family for Jesus, and then it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? Like, do we have a recent story that we're sharing in our preaching? Do we have the recent story that we're telling others? Are we leading by example in that way? So really those three ways together are helping people find Jesus, right? Where we're doing the community events, we're doing church services that are open to new people, and we're personally living it out one-on-one. Those three things work really well together. So specifically though, uh, for the outreach events, how do we do that in COVID? The philosophy of what we do is taken from a guy named Ken Raymer, who used to be on District. I heard him say it, and he was actually at Jay Small's church at the time. So maybe it's actually Jason's philosophy. I don't know, but it's good deeds in the community leads to goodwill in the community, which leads to good news being shared in the community. And I'm like, oh, when I heard that, I'm like, that is so good. We're not just aimlessly like, hey, let's run this event, or hey, let's go do this thing. There's purpose behind it. There's steps to it, right? It's that's actually gonna let those good things we do it's gonna create goodwill for the church and for kind of the thought of Jesus and God, and then that will eventually lead to the good news being shared, right? So here are just a couple examples of what we've been trying to do, since we don't have the big kind of events that we do. We've been doing we did it last summer, we're doing it this summer again too.
Just
uh,
touch it.
it's not a new idea, it's not like a revolutionary idea, but it's popsicles in the park. So what we do is, just in our city, we just go to every park in town and set up a little table with a sign that just says free popsicles. And on a Saturday night, as people are walking by, it's kind of like, oh, you're giving free popsicles. And then that way we can still be socially distanced, it's individually wrapped. And it's just kind of that reminder that it's like, hey, I know we haven't been doing church services like normal, and we know the big events haven't been happening, but we're still here. Remember, like, especially if you don't have a building, right? It's tough to kind of leave your mark in that way. So that's been really useful. And then kind of with that idea, we've been going to the skate park once a week as well, and just setting up a tent and just giving out free water, and people at the park or the skate park or whatever, that kind of thing. This year we're trying to expand that a bit. We're going to the farmers market again, which is with our church tent with the banner on it, and just free water. And again, what are we doing? We're doing good deeds that are creating goodwill, which we're praying that will lead to good news being shared, right? Um, and then we're hoping by the end of summer we can do some events, and even though they're low key. So we have a bunch of people that like going to the skate park in our local church, so we're going to do a skate comp probably just give out free stuff there and this kind of thing. And then the last thing that we're trying to do this summer is we're in the process of adopting a park. So in the city, you can adopt the park. They put a little sign up that says this park is adopted by, so it'd be by Mountainside Church. And basically it's like 3 times a year you go and you pick up the trash, you paint over graffiti, you kind of just look out for the park. And it's just kind of like, yeah, what a great way to serve the community. You know what I mean? And again, everyone can walk by that little sign, that little plaque. It's like, oh, that's really kind of those guys. And again, it's that good work is creating goodwill, which will lead to good news being shared, right? And again, not having a building for a lot of us being a portable church, it's pretty useful having, just reminding people, hey, we're here. You don't see our location. We're not meeting right now. We're doing this right now, whatever, but we're still here. We're still accessible to help serve you in that way. So that's one way that's a couple ways we've been trying to serve during COVID, because it's unique times, right? And then back to you, Dave.
Yeah, it's great, Michael. It's great. And just hearing firsthand from you as well, just what God's doing there is amazing. Thanks so much. Jason Randall, tell us where you are and your church, and then take it away.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so right now, Dave, we are Ford Faith Church. We are actually in downtown Toronto, literally at the Dundas Square. So we've been meeting at the Cineplex there the very few times with COVID. And I kind of was in the same situation as Michael. We were trying to figure out, okay, since every place is shut down and we don't have a building, how exactly can we still be the church? And because we launched literally during COVID, we were looking at, I'm still in the process of saying, hey, like, why not just build my people and also build my team and still also figure out ways to kind of get out about who we are and that there is a local church that is inside of the area. So one of our core values is being innovative, and that's something that I've always discussed with my team. So one thing that we started was a meetup group. So there's meetup groups, and we wanted to be intentional about reaching singles. So I started the meetup group, maybe about probably a little bit over a year ago. And so maybe about once a month, we just kind of have singles. We have a singles event geared towards Christians, and some other people coming as well, and that's fine. And, we've had maybe about 15 to 20 people show up to some of our events. So it's been an outreach just to kind of encourage young people and singles, and also have some fun with that as well. And we were able to I think we've had maybe about 2 people join our team just because of that. And the one person who joined our team is somebody that I was praying for, to someone to actually lead our online marketing. So now she's been leading our marketing team as far as our social media with Instagram, Facebook, and we've been working on some things on TikTok as well. So she's really taken over the online presence. And that's also something that we really wanted to do. So as far as Sunday mornings, I just share a half-hour message. And then also we have our prayer that is on Zoom every Thursday nights, which has been consistent, but God has really blessed everybody who's been a part of it. It's been amazing. We've been writing down our prayers every week, and just seeing God answer the prayers for the people who've been a part of it. And even we created a prayer box online on Instagram. And with that, we've had some people connect, and even some people have watched us online that this is the first interaction that we've ever had with them. So that's been a win for us. Also, I was looking for some volunteers, and so I was like, oh, let's try something different. We started a volunteer page on Craigslist and just asking for volunteers. We wanted to see if people would like to help us out in worship, or also just any area. And the first time it was okay. The second time, we actually were able to bring in somebody to join our team, a newcomer. And the last time I've actually was able to put out the ad, we've had so many people respond, I had to stop because I didn't know, okay, what exactly am I going to put these people at? And we still can't meet in person. So I know once we relaunch again in September, we're looking to actually do that as well. Also, we're going to do something that's still pretty conventional. We haven't been able to do it recently, but we are planning to do it July 3rd. We actually want to go downtown to Dundas Square and pass out sanitizer wipes. We wanted to do masks, but even I'm thinking, okay, I don't know if I want to take a mask from a stranger. So at least with us passing out some sanitizer wipes, just having casual conversations with some people at our actual church location. Now they have an idea physically where we're planning to meet at, and then we can possibly be an impact for them later on in the future. So another thing that the last thing that we're looking at trying to do is we've had a discussion about since another area that we really want to target are newcomers and immigrants, because there's a in Toronto, there's so many newcomers that come in, and we're looking to actually teach English. So I'm looking for somebody to find maybe a Christian and just kind of have a pipeline to kind of have that service to be a blessing to our community, but then also let them know that there's a church out there who loves them and who cares about them and just shows some people the love of Christ.
Jason, I cannot wait until COVID is done for your church.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because it's going to just explode where you are in Dundas Square. And I just, I think it's amazing what you guys are doing through this and how you've been creative and what God's doing. So good to hear that too. And so Johnson, are you there, brother? Yeah, tell us where you are and tell us about the name of your church.
Awesome. Thank you, Pastor Dave. Hi, everyone. This is Johnson Pratipati. And some of you know that I was a Mission Canada missionary reaching Muslims in the GTA for the past 5 years. And God has been, putting in my heart for a long time to, do a church plant with the ethnic group where I belong to, South India, especially Telugu-speaking people. We have almost 20,000 people in the GTA, and most of them are Muslims and Hindus. So that's been in my heart for a long time. And anyways, long story short, I began this new church plant this last year May, in the midst of the pandemic, right? So it's been 1 year since we've been doing services online from the basement. So as we don't have a building, nothing. So if things get better, we are hoping to, find a church property in the North York area where most of the people from, my province or from India, most of them, they come to that area. And that's the concentration I would like to, put into. And we are searching for the church building, so pray for that, right? And we're looking anywhere from Steeles to 401 and Bayview to Kiel, in case you know the geographical area. And what we've been doing so far, God has been so gracious. We have a couple of Hindu families attending. I'll give you 2 examples how God's faithfulness works in spite of what we are going through in this nasty, dark days we are going through. It is a guy, he's from North India. He doesn't even speak my language, but he's a strong Hindu. And due to the connections, because most of my church members are young people, either they're students or they just completed their studies and then they're getting into their jobs. So through connections, so this guy, back home, his whole family, his only son, whole family has got affected by COVID. And he came to know that we have an Indian church, and they just called me and said, Pastor, do you want to pray for him? And I said, sure. I prayed for him. I invited him to church. Again, God is a miracle working God. In 2 weeks, where his mom was kind of she got this asthma where he thought that's done. She's done. She's into or the oxygen, and also, the, what do you call that? whatever kit they use, right? He thought he's going to lose her. By God's grace, not only did she come out from the hospital, but she's now almost asthma free. And so much so that guy is like, wow, there is a God, and that should be Jesus. And for the first time, he, you know, oh my goodness, Lord, Christians may not, move forward to even give to the work of God. But this man, I don't know who told him, immediately he's sent to the church. You know what? Not that I'm paying this because something happened to me. I think I believe that Jesus is true, and I need to do something to the church. So that's one example. Another example, again, uh, a family, brand new restaurant they wanted to start, and they started, I think around March, April, and COVID hit, and they didn't know what to do. I said, you know what? By faith, if you believe in Jesus, by faith we can open it. Again, a Hindu, strong Hindu, called me to his in Scarborough. He called me. I opened the scriptures, prayed over the business, and his business has become so famous that even CBC came and then took their what do you call interview. And all, even it's an Indian restaurant, but all white people started coming and ordering all the food. So, Pastor, I don't know what to do. Thank you so much for coming. And almost every time he feels down, and he says, I know to go to person, and he keeps calling. So what I'm trying to say is, like, God is on the move. No matter what we are going through, what we are going through, still people need Jesus. There's so many people who need Jesus, right? We in the church, we were worried about when to open the churches, but God is waiting for us to go somehow to try to speak to their hearts so that they can open their hearts to Jesus. While we are struggling to open our churches, God is waiting for his people to open their hearts. So that's why I love this scripture, and I've been using this in my ministry to the Muslims. All of you know this, you have preached this 10,000 times. Acts chapter 17, verse 26. And he, God, made from one man, that is Adam, every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth. That is, that's the immigration policy of God, right? All the face of the earth, right? Not Biden's or not Trudeau's policy, right? It's God's policy that everybody has a right to live in on the every part of the world, having determined allotted period. That means he's already determined who is coming where he is born, which country they're moving into, and the boundaries of their dwelling place. Why? That they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Wow, that is awesome. So when we are open to this, they will have an opportunity to listen to the gospel and find their way to find Jesus. So that's what is happening. So our church is mostly into outreach, obviously. So I have a strategic plan where uh, Kevin is giving my Mission Canada thing out here. Thank you, Kevin. Anyways, so obviously because of the young people, so we all have a strategic plan of reaching to the campuses. Obviously, we have Mission Canada missionaries, but at the same time on a church level, they're having their contacts in different schools and universities. So we want to make sure, first we want to make sure we invite them, make them feel part of, because any immigrant who comes, they feel lonely. They feel lonely, right? And if you believe, if you remember that Boston marathon, what do you call that, bomb blast? I think Sarni or whatever his name was. When they interviewed his mom, you know what they said? Why did your son end up like this? He said, because we don't have anybody. For the past 10 years, we've been in the United States. Not one family invited us to their home. Ladies and gentlemen, who are we? We are hands and feet of Jesus. We have to show people who don't know him a warm welcome. We have to invite them. So our church is very strategic. All the young people we've spoken enough that they have to go and then have the network. Once the schools start, first attending to their health needs, then slowly drawing them to church, and then ministering to them. And as we minister, God will work in their hearts. and God is doing good. So please pray for us, because just 1 year church, right? It's still doing online. We didn't figure out everything. We don't have everything out there, and we are a growing church. We started with 10 people. Right now we have around 60 to 65 people attending online. So yeah, thank you. And a church name is Heaven Bound Community Church. I tell my church again, this is my selfish prayer. Lord, even if you give me 10 people for the next 30 years, I want those 10 people to be registered in the book of life, and they all should be heaven bound. It's a journey to eternity. Amen.
Amen. Very, very good, Johnson. We thank God for you and your church and what God's doing. I just think it's amazing to hear these stories today. No matter where we are, Binbrook, downtown Toronto, GTA, God has placed us where he has placed us for this time with an incredible purpose. And I'm reminded that his anointing is on us to accomplish the call that he's given us. Just wanted to hear from one more person. I'm going to put you on the spot, Tony Denbach, and then I'm going to hand it back to Jason here. But just some really exciting things happening in your church network, Tony. And it'd be great if you could just take a minute and tell us what God's doing.
Sure. Well, for those of you who don't know, we're one church and we were 3 locations. We adopted Cornerstone in Ottawa, Collingwood area. A year and a half ago, I guess we were just about to launch that or relaunch that when COVID hit. So we haven't launched the 3rd site. And now we're adopting Lighthouse Church in Wasaga Beach, so as our 4th site. So we're getting ready to relaunch 4 sites coming out of COVID, which is going to be crazy, but we're excited about it because it's the regional. God gave us a regional vision for the area. I'm a local yokel, so I was born 10 minutes from where I live, and these are my people. I love them, so I'm excited to do that. We were able to have a outdoor service this weekend for everyone at the campground in our community. So we invited all of the guys together, including Lighthouse, and we had a blast, man. We had so much fun. There were people driving onto the campus crying. They were just in tears when they started seeing everyone. And we had people join us from the campground and from the community. And so we had, I think, about 300 people there for the weekend, and it was just beautiful. But we're looking forward to what God's doing. Some beautiful stories. I loved your stories, Johnson. We have a Pakistani lady who's a Muslim who called my wife during service. They've had a relationship going on for a little while, and she called my wife saying, I've got a friend. I want to bring her to church. When is your service? And so anyway, my wife told her, well, we're in the middle of service right now. She said, well, I want to come. And so she said, well, if you come now, you probably will be here at the end. So they're trying to set it up so that she can come, this Muslim woman, and bring her friend next week to service. I think we're going to get rained out this Sunday, unfortunately, but we're meeting at the campground for the rest of the summer with unlimited seating. So that's going to be awesome. But God's doing some good things. We're trying to figure it all out. By the way, if anybody knows anybody who's looking, I'm looking to hire a director for children's ministry and a director for youth ministry coming up in a week or so. So if you know anybody that's good, send them my way. We're trying to build a team, but God's good. New people coming in. So I had a guy pop in this week to my office. My secretary said, somebody's in the parking lot and they say they'd like to talk to you. And it turned out it was my neighbor from four doors down from on my street who visited our church one time, Christmas Eve, just before they shut us down in 2020. And he's been following along online ever since. And he started tithing. And so anyway, he came to tell me, he says, I just wanted you to know I'm looking for some accountability. And I figured, since I guess you're my pastor, can we do that? So I said, sure. So anyway, it's exciting watching what God's doing. And I agree with Jason that God's working in the middle of all of this stuff, in the middle of COVID. he's touching people's hearts. He's preparing things. And so all we're trying to do is keep on sowing seed, and the harvest is coming. Harvest is coming. So thanks for asking, Dave. God bless.
I'll just jump in here now as well. And so we wanted to just take some time to hear from you a little bit and kind of hear what God's doing in the midst, and hear the great things that God's doing, and kind of focus in on those, and highlight some of those wonderful things. So we also want to take some time for some Q&A to say, okay, you've heard some people share a little bit. So what are maybe some things that maybe piqued your interest, or some things you'd like to dial in? So we'll open it up now for some Q&A for some of these leaders that have just shared. So you can feel free to unmute yourself, or to just put it in the chat, and we can kind of go with that now. So feel free to ask away, folks. I'll maybe start and just say, so as you begin, I'm hearing stories of different trying to make the best of it. So Tony, so you're doing in a park for the summer. So how did you go about figuring out how to make that happen? And is it just a public park, or what are you doing there?
Well, there's a Stainer campground, which is a Christian campground and retreat center in our community. And it's about, I think it's 12 acres right in the middle of town. So we've partnered with them before. We did the fall festival there. If you remember that, a few years ago, we did the fall festival. So we just asked them if they would be willing to let us host a service there. And they actually said, if you will do the service for us and allow our people to come, we'll give you the park for free. So it's basically a football-sized field. And we're setting up an FM transmitter. So if it rains, we'll be able to have service anyway on the field. So that's how that happened. We just asked. There's another church that actually has booked the Great Northern Exhibition grounds in our area, and they're doing the same thing, running a few churches together. So they're available at least in rural areas. That's one benefit of the rural areas. We don't have some amenities, but we have room. So thankfully that was available.
That's great. I've just talked to so many of our church plants as we're opening back up again. You know, those of you who are in theaters, schools, community centers, it's not easy to get into those places. And so a lot of places have been left without a meeting spot. And I'm so encouraged. So many of our leaders are doing the 3 Ps, if you will, the parking lots, lots of parking lots, lots of parks that they're in, and lots of patios. And so feel free, just if you're a church planter, just, engage in a patio, engage in a parking lot, engage in a park somewhere, and just kind of go for it this summer. And yeah, one of the questions, are your people feeling ready or safe to serve again? How are you getting people to start to serve again in your midst? So maybe I'll throw that out if one of the ones who shared today wants to tackle that question. Are your people feeling safe and ready to serve again? And how are you getting people to serve again?
Yes. Short answer is yes. People are desperate to serve. I think a lot of people. We just put the word out and asked for volunteers, and we have more volunteers than we can use. And so I think you're going to find two extremes. There's some people who are going, I'm not going anywhere until this is all done. But there's a whole other group that's been going crazy and wants to do something, even if it's just greet somebody in the parking lot with a smile on their face, right? So I think if you just put the word out to your congregation, however you communicate, you'll have volunteers, I think.
Cool. Michael or Johnson or Jay, any you guys want to?
Yeah. Tony, maybe you can send some people over to us. You got extra, send them up. I think, yeah, because Tony makes a good point. There's the kind of person that's just so eager, and then there's the other person that's like, I'll sit it out. So in our context, it's a lot more of that. So what we're doing actually this summer is, and we've been doing it since, there's been a couple waves, like reopening, we're closed, reopening, oh, did I freeze? We're still good. Anyways, there's been the back and forth. Because it's been tough, we've actually just been doing every other week starting up again. And then, so for this summer, we're just doing the same thing again. So we're having service online only, service online only, service online only. And then that way, kids ministry, youth ministry, worship, all that stuff, we just have to book for half the amount of time. That way someone's not literally like helping out four times a month. It's more 2 times a month kind of thing. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's tough. Oh, and then it was funny. My wife Olivia is like, I don't know if you guys follow Kerry Newhoff at all, but he always has cool blogs. On his blog the other day, it was like, consider doing every other week to save volunteers. I was like, yes. I thought I was crazy, but hey, if Kerry Newhoff is talking about it, it's all good. So that's an idea we're doing, at least. I don't know.
Good. Anyone else want to tie in on that or weigh in?
Yeah, as you all know, everybody's screen fatigued, so our people want to get into the building as soon as possible. But the thing which is keeping us going is because every Saturday we're meeting for a game of cricket, right? So a lot of young people come, so we make sure we provide them breakfast too. So that's how Jesus and sports.
That's cool. I love it.
Right.
Can I come in on your cricket game sometime, Johnson?
Time, baseball, you can crack it.
That's cool. I got my son a cricket bat and a cricket ball a few years ago, and we've been trying. So yeah, that'd be fun. Cool.
And we're strategic. We're having the game in North York again, just making sure we get the people out there. So exactly on 401 and Shepherd. So
cool. Question for Jay that came in. How do you coordinate your volunteers who are new to your church that you found through like Reddit or Craigslist, so that they not only are servers but reliable, engaged? How do you kind of make that?
So we've recently tried to do a few things, just trying to connect with them maybe about once a week, getting them involved maybe at least in 1 or 2 prayers. Some of them even, just telling them, hey, this is where our service is at. And actually, since there were the ways, we would actually have meets where we, one thing we were going to do was a walk in the park. So, I mean, and even one way that we were able to do it is a few of the people were going to be a part of the worship team. So then during the whole practice, they would actually come in and practice at our place, and then we would provide food for them afterwards. So, I mean, I kind of always, it's the regular things like, service or prayer, but then we're always trying to find ways just to connect. Even sometimes our prayer, we might start out with a half hour, just regular conversation. And we've also had a game. Actually, this Sunday, we're actually having a game. We're just going to play online games for an hour. So that might be anywhere from draw pool to charades, just kind of bringing in everybody to laugh and joke about some things. So, yeah, I mean, we've used just a wide variety of means just to kind of bring in people to kind of form that type of community.
That's cool. That's cool. I also want to highlight, just as some of you are looking, I've had a few people write to me about facility questions and that kind of thing. So the moving of, so Michael, you've moved locations during this, and you've had to move times. So how have you helped your people through some of those moving of times and locations?
From, at least in our context, I'm sure in all yours too, like there's different groups of people that like different things. So as far as like messaging and stuff, so like some people you can only find them through Facebook Messenger. Some people only, like, they'll see it on Instagram and it's fine. Some people you got to email them. Some people never. So it's literally just every possible way of messaging, just going to town with that. And then I don't know how like detailed your lists are as well, but like we have a list of everyone that we consider, or that they consider our local church, their local church. So even just following up individually with them, and it's just kind of like multiple avenues. Basically, that's what we've been trying to. I don't know if it's working or not, but
That's great. That's good. Well, we want to transition now into just having some time for breakout session, and so here's what I want to do during that is just have some time to pray for one another as you're going into the summer. Here's what I found is dealing with a lot of our pastors. They're tired right now coming into this season, and so I just want to bring some encouragement to you that the Lord's with you. It's good to take some holidays during the summer. I don't think you have to feel guilty about that. It's good to take some time off and just rejuvenate and rest and ask the Lord to be with you. It's also good. There's people on this screen right here that'll come and help you out. And if you need somebody to hey, come speak for me for a week while I'm on holidays, we can help you with that, and we can help find somebody. And so just to utilize the family of God together as you are there, that there's great, just as we stand with one another. Also, just want to make you aware of a couple of events and things coming up as well. So one of them, and I don't know, Dave, if you mentioned this before, just the June 29th. So next Tuesday, this is like a last minute kind of advertisement. Didn't think we were going to do it. And then Mark Gincola said, yeah, Brayside's open coming this week. So there's a family camp going on at Brayside Camp, which is in Paris. And we're going to have Paul Fraser's coming to speak at that, who's our national director. And so we thought, well, he's here. Why not just have him share with us? So we're going to do a lunch next Tuesday. That's June the 29th at Brayside Camp in Paris for any of you who can make it. And you're welcome to bring some of your team members along if you want as well. And Paul's going to just share with us over lunchtime. And we're just going to have a good lunch together. And then and Paul's going to share for a bit and take time to pray. So if you're able to join us next Tuesday for that, we would love to have you at lunch for that. Let us know so that we can just plan food-wise around how many you're bringing with you as well. The other one is July 24th. That's a Saturday. And we're just going to have kind of our summer meetup, summer barbecue for those of you who were around last time, just a chance to get to know one another and to hang out a little bit. And so we would love to have you come for that summer barbecue on July 24 for that. And so just so you can kind of stay up in the loop of some of the events and things that are coming up and taking place, and in a way to connect with one another. So we're going to take at this moment and just go into our breakout rooms. Just love these times every single month, and also just love what God's doing in your churches and in your midst, and as the Lord's using you. And I love that I get to hear all these stories, like great stuff that's going on. And so hopefully you'll connect with one another and hear some of these stories as well. So just take time just to tell what God's doing in your midst, maybe one praise report, and then some time just to pray together in your small group. So Diane, feel free just to put us in there. Let me just pray for you guys all as a whole before we go into that, okay? Lord, I just pray that you would be with our pastors and planters right now, Lord, and those who are considering. Lord, this is wild times we're in right now, but Lord, I say thank you that you're the God of encouragement. You're the God of strength, Lord, and even in the midst of these challenging times, Lord, people are coming to you. Lives are being transformed and changed, and so we celebrate that. Lord, encourage each one that's here. Lord, strengthen each one that's here. And Lord, guide and direct us as we move forward, we pray. In your name, amen. Okay, blessings, guys and girls, as you go into our breakout rooms now.